Hey guys, welcome back to Live Dive. I know it's been a while since we've done one of these. We had to kind of put Live Dive on hiatus just for a little bit because of how crazy the summer has been. I'm sure for some of you can relate to that, but it has been a lot busier summer for me than I anticipated, but it is good to be back. Before we dive into what we want to talk about tonight, which is actually a preview of what we'll be looking at on Sunday for our Sunday school class, just a reminder that to stay tuned for all of our announcements and latest updates on our social media pages. We have Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and some of the updates we'll be doing is, as usual, giving you a little bit of a Wednesday night preview. We do our Wednesday night class. I'll give you a little preview of what's going on there. We'll also update you on when we'll be doing our ice skating event. And we'll also keep reminding you about the big event coming up at the beginning of January, which is the Passion 19 conference in Atlanta. I am so pumped up for that, and I really hope you guys are excited about that as well. So be sure to stay tuned on our social media pages for the latest and greatest updates on everything. And speaking of our Wednesday night class, I just want to remind you that what we've been doing is probably I guess I would have to admit my favorite Wednesday night series that we've done so far, which is At the Movies. And what we've been doing is looking at different popular movies and finding biblical themes in them. So be sure, again, to stay tuned to our social media as we will preview what movie we will be doing this next Wednesday. And I'm really excited to be talking about that, and I'm excited to give you a preview of that later on, either at the end of this week or the beginning of next week. So let's dive into what we're going to be talking about today. Our theme for Sunday school this month, the month of August, is objective truth. Objective truth. And today we're specifically going to be talking about the importance of knowing that we have a truth that we can count on. And it does feel good to know that as Christians, we really do have a truth that we can depend on a daily basis. And it's such an incredibly important and relevant topic to be talking about in today's age. And here's why. I've noticed one of the interesting things about our culture, it's kind of a paradox or a contradiction, so to speak, but statistics show consistently among Pew Research, Barna, Gallup, all of the most respected polls out there, and they all say that somewhere between 79 to 89% of Americans believe in a God, and over 56% of them believe in specifically the God of the Bible. Yet the statement that's becoming all the more popular every single day, and you probably have heard it from people, there is no absolute truth. No absolute truth. Now here's, to me, that's a little bit of a contradiction, because what's funny is that if you do believe in a God, and especially if you believe in the God of the Bible, then you have to know that there is an absolute truth. And on top of that, just simply saying that there is no absolute truth is an absolute statement. So I always thought there was a little bit of irony there. But David even talks to us about the fact that because there is a God, there is an absolute truth. If you look in Psalm 119, 142, it's a very long chapter, but in the middle of it, David writes this about God. He said, "Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth." I like that last part. Thy law is the truth. He's talking about God's law. It's the truth. It's reliable. It stands the test of time, and it is absolute. So two challenges for you tonight as we wrap up our preview for Sunday school this coming weekend. One is this, is to remember that if anybody ever tells you or challenges you on this idea of absolute truth, more than likely they themselves believe in a God, and if that's the case, you can remind them, well, if there is a God, then there must be an absolute truth. And you can point them to even this scripture tonight in Psalm 119. But the other challenge I want you guys to take away from this is to examine your own lives. We may preach and push for absolute truth, but do we as believers follow the truth that God has set before us, His law? You see, there's commandments. He commands us to live a certain way, and so do we live out that absolute truth. That's something I want you to think about as we go into the weekend. Be sure to come on out on Sunday for our Sunday school class upstairs in the cafeteria this coming Sunday at 10 a.m. Remember, we have free donuts as always, so be sure to come out. I think we might even have a few new students, so I'm really excited for that. But keep in mind, this weekend before Sunday, the idea that there is a truth that we as believers can count on. But until then, thanks so much for listening. Have a good night and have a great weekend.